Hello, can you all hear me? Very good morning to all.
Morning, Doctor.
Morning. Okay, welcome back to the new semester. So some of you, or maybe most of you, have basically attended my class before, I believe, right? I mean, not this class, but other subjects, other courses. Okay, before we start, so there are a number of things that we will need to discuss. Someone wanted to say something? Hello, anyone want to say something? Is it? Okay. If you have nothing to say, so I'll continue to say what I want to say then. Okay, so first and foremost, we should have a total of 38 students and divided into two sections. So section 1 currently is 35, section 2 we have 3. So can I know what is the capping? I mean, can the 3 in section 2 actually still move to section 1? There are 3 students in section 2 currently. So I'm not sure the actual capping on the system, but I mean, if you can still enter, I would prefer to not have another section in this case. So no one has any idea. Okay, that's fine. So
I'm not sure, sir.
not sure, huh? Because section 2 have 3 students only. So it's quite not sure how, but I don't see the need of having 3 students in one section lah, when we can actually put every one of you in a single section. So for those who are here, if you're registered in section, if you are registered in section 2, correct me if I'm wrong, insert delete can still be done, right? I mean, today is the last day, is it? If I'm not mistaken. So if
Yes, sir.
thanks Razif. So if you, for those in section 2, if you want, maybe can try to see whether you can change to section 1. Okay, if you all move to section 1, then we can just ignore section 2 lah. Okay, so if can enter section 1, then try to enter section 1. If no, then we just let it be lor. Okay, so there are a few things that might affect. So one of it is that I have to always put things on 2 sections. For example, e-learning, then I have to put e-learning 2 sections, and then later documentation wise, when I key in the marks, I have to key in separately. So that is one part lah. Then another part that can be a bit troublesome is, let's say if I've decided to give you a group project, let's say I've not decided yet, so this one will be decided later. If I decide to give group project, then it will be easier if all of you are in the same section in this case. Okay, so this is the first thing that I would like to highlight. Number two, okay, so there are basically comments as usual. So students like to give comments, and their comments are always through EPPP lah, not through feedback direct to the lecturer. So this semester around, because of the comments given, so lecturers are advised to have live sessions every week. So the way to conduct the live sessions can be as simple as I sit here, I switch on video, we watch video together. And then you have anything, you ask question. Okay, so this is the outcome of the feedback that students provided to us SKM through EPPP. Because you all say lecturers always only give video only, and the statement is too simple for us to judge what is happening. So because the statement is just too simple and too general, so the school decided that we have to do the term they call it synchronous teaching. Then I asked, so what do you mean by synchronous teaching? So is it like it's compulsory for me to switch on my slide, go through one by one every week, or how? Then someone said that that person said that he did his synchronous teaching by switching on the video provided by another lecturer and play the video and watch the video together with the students. So if it's a 2-hour class, then they watch a video 2 hours together lah. And after that, if the students got any question, then they ask lah. So this is the scenario that has been highlighted lah. But I am still going to give you all the choice to choose. I'm not going to force all of you to have synchronous live sessions lah. I'm going to give you all to choose. One way is we do like what we did last time. For those who attended finite element last semester, we can still keep the same method of delivery, which means we will have a very short meeting once a week. Anyway, this class is only once a week. It's a 2-credit class. So a very short one, maybe 15 minutes to half an hour. Then I will just highlight or basically provide a summary of what is expected or what kind of materials you're going to go through. And then you're given all the links to the video and you study by yourself. If you have any questions, then you either ask in the live session the following week, or you can through the group ask questions. So this is the way that I'm going to offer all of you, which means that it's a hybrid version, pretty much like what we did for finite element last semester, where we have a very short meeting once a week to basically I see you, you see me, we take attendance, and then I give you some briefing, what you are expected to learn. And then you can use your own time after that to go through the videos. So this is the option I'm giving. But if you think that you are the one who said lectures only give video, there is no two-way communication, then if you want to have live session every week, I don't mind, but you have to tell me lah. Then we have to do it. So it's something that we have to all decide together. Because I don't want by the end of the semester, then only you start to voice out and say, oh sir, you only give us video, or lecturer only give video only, don't do any other things. Or you just put a comment there, lecturer only give videos. So the comment is too general for anyone to judge actually your comment is a positive comment or a negative comment, or what do you actually mean. Okay, so now I'm open for further discussion. So I can see on the chat box, agreed to the hybrid type of teaching, So anyone wants live session means I have to catch you, sit in front of computer 2 hours on a Thursday from 11 to 1. So any other comments? I don't want later once we decided then only by the end of the semester you complain. Or you find it very stressful and you go UTM confessions and confess there. So, and another thing that I when I go through the list, okay, I see most people, so far a few people, I'm not going to say most, say hybrid. For those you don't comment anything, you don't say you want live session or whatever, I'll just assume you agree with these few people who commented lah. Huh? If you want to comment, you can still comment. Just before I proceed, I saw on the list there's a few students registered this semester as part of improving their grade. Is it true? Do I have students who are attending this class because they want to improve their grades, which means they actually took my class before? Do we have such students this semester? So quiet means I don't know or you don't know or how or there's no such student. Because in the list there's when you say then when the status put UG means it's ulang grade or repeat grade or you try to take this subject again to improve your grades. Okay, so I'm not sure, but if really your intention is to improve the grade, then my advice for you is that you have to think carefully because this semester we are running on a new syllabus. This is the first cycle for the new syllabus, and the topics related to calculation has increased. So which means that there will be more questions on calculation for this subject from this semester onwards. Okay, so if you took the previous older version of this subject, SKMV 4212, if you have taken it before, then comparing the old format and this format, so this format has been updated to include easily another 2 to 3 topics that involves calculation. Okay, because this is the new syllabus that we're running first semester. Okay, so the reason I highlight it is, as I mentioned, it will involve more calculation questions, and it might not be as simple as previous semesters because of the added topics. Okay, so if your intention is to come in and expect to be the same and improve your grades, then I would suggest you think carefully lah. Okay, because there will be, basically as I mentioned, the syllabus has been basically reviewed and we are using a different syllabus as compared to last year. Okay, so it's reviewed doesn't mean that it's 100% totally different. So at the moment, what I can say is the difference is easily 30 to 40% as compared to previous semesters. Okay, so this is the new code SEMV 4212 lah. So the syllabus has been updated. Okay, the topics has been basically modified. Okay, so from the comments I see means we will stick to hybrid of teaching in the sense that we will meet up every Thursday, not very long. I'll try to finish it in less than an hour. It'll be more of a casual kind of meeting so that I'm not going to go very deep detail into the lecture materials. It'll be more for you to ask questions, for me to tell you what you have to focus on. Okay, like what we did for finite element in the previous semester for those who attended my class of finite element. Okay, I would see majority of you actually attended my class, my finite element class last semester lah. Okay, so we'll stick to hybrid. So we will basically do the way that is comfortable for both parties, means for me and for you as well. Okay, okay, so delivery method done. Section for those who are in section 2, please do try to see whether you can enter section 1. So if you can enter section 1, then that would be great so that we don't have to have like only 3% in section 2 lah. It feels a bit weird when you only have 3 students in section 2. And the reason I'm asking you to do that now is that when the school reviews the timetable in, I think next week, most likely they're going to go through a review of the timetables. If they find that we have sections having students like less than 5 or 10 students, they might shut down the section and move the students to a different section also. So currently our section 2 is only 3 students, which means that there's a high chance they will also shut down the section and automatically move you there. So before we make it complicated, if you want, I suggest if you can enter, you enter first lah, to section 1. Okay? Then what else? Or any questions before I introduce the course, and then I'll let you know what you have to do this week. And while waiting, please take your attendance. No question. Still don't want to talk. Majority of you still feel like very shy to voice out. Okay, so if nothing, so just let me stop sharing for a while. Let me change something. So for those who have not taken the attendance, I'm going to share the QR code lah. Okay. So we have 31, including myself. So we have 30 students only. So I'm missing 8 students in total. Okay. So let me change the setting for my PowerPoint. So any question, if no question, I'll just introduce to you this course and then explain to you how you're going to be assessed for this course. Okay, so this is the course, basically SEMV 4212, Automotive Electronics and Instrumentation. So please make sure you're registered. Okay, I know that some of you are still under the old code SKMV, so please make sure that you basically make sure that you're registered under the SKMV code lah. Okay. Then for those SCMV, you're basically you don't need to do anything with your your registration, because this is SCMV 4212. Okay, so this course basically for what we're going to cover would be we're going to cover what is a transducer or sensor, and then how we are going to use all these sensors in automotive instrumentation systems. And then we will be focusing on the interface between transducers and microcontrollers. So the first half of the semester would be basically looking into transducers, microcontrollers, and then analysis of electronic systems. Okay. And then in the second half, we'll be looking at major electronic systems that we use in automotive vehicles. So we'll be covering, for example, starting system, charging system, electric vehicles, hybrid autonomous vehicle systems. So what I would like to claim here is that we are not going to go very, very detailed, but mainly we're going to introduce the concept, okay, especially for the third item here, which is your, which is your basically major electronic systems. So we're going to, for example, starting, charging, electric, hybrid, autonomous, all this kind of stuff. We're going to cover mainly on the basics. Okay, just introduce and then how sensors, everything, what kind of sensors you can actually consider for this kind of systems. So this would be the course learning outcome. So the first one would be demonstrate the operating principle and application of various transducers used in instrumentation systems. Okay, and then we'll be looking into signal conditioning. So this is one of the new topics that we're going to cover for this subject that was not in this course previously. And then microcontrollers will be part where we're going to do a lot for item number 1. Okay, we're going to use sensors and basically actuators. And then for the second half, as I mentioned, we're going to look into starting, charging, ignition systems. And then we're going to look into the basics of, for example, hybrid vehicles, electric vehicles. And then we're going to analyze electrical systems that will be part of the calculation. And then the project will be involving the use of sensors and actuators based on a microcontroller. Okay, so the microcontroller that we're going to go through in this class would be using Arduino Uno to be specific. Okay, so for this class, I'm going to cover Arduino Uno. Okay, so this is a course where I try to mirror as much as I can the course mechatronics that is taught for the mechanical students. Okay, so that's why we are going to do Arduino Uno for the project. So lectures, we're going to have lectures. So I've provided as what we agreed just now. So we'll be having a quick briefing every week. And then after that, I'll provide you with all the recordings. And then you go through it. And then this time for the recordings, you might have short questions depending on the video. So some of it at the bottom of the video, I might provide a link for you to click to answer some questions. Okay, so not all, some of it would have this kind of features at the title area for the video. So please take note when you go through the YouTube video, don't just click play video and then full screen immediately. So look at the title area, see whether there's a link or not. And then in the video, I will also highlight there is some activity that you will need to complete. Okay. Then once you complete it, for some, I might immediately, once you complete it, I might have an explanation video related to the activity, but not all, only some of them would have that. Okay, so please go through the video and then you'll see, please take note of this kind of stuff lah. And then the lab and tutorial sessions will be planned actually in the first half of the semester. So this one, I will provide further details later on, okay? So when, to do this, there will be some electronic components that you will need to buy yourself, okay? So that I will explain most likely next week lah, not this week. So assessment-wise, you have test 1 and test 2, so 15% each. You have an assignment of 10%. You have a project of 15% plus a presentation related to the project. So the presentation on the project is going to be more on demonstration of your project. So you build something. Once you finish building it, you have to show works. Okay. So that will be the 5%. That means you have to either record a video to demonstrate that what you basically produce for the project actually works. Okay. So which means the project total will be 20%. So the project for the previous semester, last semester, when we did full online, it was done as an individual project. When it's a face-to-face course, I would usually do it as a group project. Okay, so I've not yet decided because I need to basically design the project and finalize the project first to see whether it's possible to whether make it an individual or not. So the same thing, project and also the lab, I will confirm with you all next week. Okay, because I need to update the project for the new syllabus. So you can give your feedback as to whether you want to do group project or individual, because this involves building a prototype of the electronic project. So I can see making it group is going to be very challenging, okay, because most of you are not yet in campus. Okay, so this is something that I'm open for discussion to have some feedback later on, okay, from all of you. Then this would be the course structure and the dates. So as usual, if you follow my class since last semester, or you have followed my class before, I'll provide you with a schedule. So basically, test 1 is scheduled to be in week 6. Test 2 will be in week 11. So the dates are already given. So for the test, we're not going to do evening test or whatever. For electronics, the test will be during class time. Okay, so which means that test will be on a Thursday, 11 a.m. Okay, we'll do it 11 a.m. Then it'll be 1 hour. So let's say if you feel that you want it later, we can do 12 to 1 also can, or you want to do 11:30 to 12:30 also can. But it will happen during official class time. So the third week is a public holiday, so I'm not going to give anything lah. So I'll let you all go and have a break, enjoy your holiday lah. Okay. So this is the schedule. So as what you can see, the first half of the teaching will be more focused on the fundamentals. So basically, we look at introduction to measurement and instrumentation. We look at types of transducers and their basic operating principles. Then you have signal conditioning, you have signal filters, you have Wheatstone bridge, and then you have your introduction to microcontrollers. So usually the electronic part, I will start possibly about week 5 onwards, most likely. But next week, week 2, I will give you more information related to the lab and then the group project. So group project most likely will be released either week 6 or week 7, so that you have the full second half of the semester to work on the project. Okay, so this semester onwards, all projects and all tests needs all of these assessments except for final exam will need to be completed before study break. So we are not allowed to provide any deadlines basically from study break until final exam. So all the projects, assessment, everything will need to be completed, submitted before study break. So which means there will be no deadline extension or whatsoever. Okay, so once I give the deadline, most likely it will be week 14 lah for projects. Okay, so that is the deadline. So no extension because again, student feedback says that we give students deadlines during the final exam time, or the deadline is like clash with their final exam, so they cannot concentrate to prepare their final exam. So because of these comments, so this semester, all the tests, all the assignments, and all the projects will need to be submitted before study break. Study break onwards, we cannot have any deadlines or any submission deadlines basically. Okay. So this would be the references that you can refer to. And what else? Okay, like I mentioned, this course is mainly to introduce students to the basics of electronic systems in automotive vehicles. So there are a lot of details that we're not going to cover. So mainly we're going to give you basically an introduction and a fairly, I would say, surface kind of approach. Okay, it'll be quite general as well. So the only part that will be a bit more detail will be your project and your lab when you use your microcontroller. Okay, so that will be the hands-on part where you will learn how to use microcontroller to actually measure measure, let's say for example, distance, or measure signals using sensors, and then you control, for example, DC motor, the direction of movement, the speed, and so on and so forth. Okay, so that would be the basic that we're going to cover for this particular course. So remember, this is a 2-credit subject, so it's not meant to be overly heavy as well. So that's the first part for the introduction to this course. So for this week, there are 4 items that if you go through all the lecture materials, I've not released it on e-learning, so I'll basically release it in a while after we finish this session on e-learning. So you're going to look into the importance of electrical electronic system to the automotive industry. And then we're going to look into the types of electronic control systems that are usually used or commonly used. Then there'll be some health and safety practices just to cover, okay, the danger of electricity, okay, and then the hazard, for example, things like burn if you are not careful enough, okay, and then if you use AC current, AC alternating current, then you have to be very careful because you might electrocute yourself. And then we'll be covering some basic principles related to how we can analyze electrical electronic systems. So this will be where you look into voltage, current, resistance, power, and then you'll start to maybe, I might, just when you go through the video, take note, I might start to introduce the term what is voltage drop, okay? So then how can you use voltage drop to actually analyze the electrical electronic circuit, for example? Okay, so these kind of terms will be covered. So mainly it's still general. It's still fairly general, and basically I would say it's more of a revision from what you have learned last time in electrical electronics and even maybe in automotive technology to some extent. Okay, so this is what I would expect you all to gain by going through the lecture materials for this week. Okay, so that is what I would like to share for this particular session as a start to our course. Okay, so any questions from the students?
No from me, sir.
Everything good, Razif? So the rest?
No question, Doctor.
All clear. So the assessment, everything will be, you can see that the project is 20%. Okay, and then you have assignment of 10%. So total there'll be 30% that is going to be based on all these kind of like projects, activities lah. Okay, so the project, group or individual, okay, this is something that if it's a face-to-face, it's definitely going to be a group project. Okay, if it's a face-to-face session. So the group project usually involves building something, okay, as I mentioned just now. If I do group project when it's fully online, then at the end of the day, only one person will be building the electronic system. And then I don't know what the rest will be doing. So another thing that will affect the group project also would be how many of you will be coming back or will be entering campus from week 9 onwards. If everyone will be back to campus from week 9 onwards, then that's a different story. If you're going to come back, for example, let's say if UTM already give you instructions, all final exam, you have to come back to take final exam in the campus. Then it means that you have to come back earlier, for example. But I cannot do presentation during exam week. That one is clear. So if I do it during that time, then I'll be in trouble. So I cannot do anything during or anything after basically from study break onwards. So I don't really know your position now, or everyone of you actually you are in campus now. I don't think everyone is in campus now. I think only a few only are back in campus. Because I know most of you would like to come back, but I'm still concerned whether week 9 onwards, is it like compulsory for everyone or will everyone be back? Then suddenly you have maybe one or two of you not back. Then how are we going to do the group project? So to me, that's a concern lah, which means that you might have group members who actually don't do anything. So what are the chances that all of you will be back from week 9?
I'm not
Anti-vax
sure.
cannot go back. I mean, Arif, you anti-vax ? No full vax already make sure you full vax, you don't need booster later lah. I hear Sarawak, they said if you take Sinovac 3 months after that, you have to take booster already. Auto design. But Dr. Saifu and Dr. Izahari, basically, they are going to force you all to come back, is it?
Yes, Doctor. Yes.
So confirm
Confirm.
Confirm So okay, we wait a bit first, we wait until after test 1, then we'll decide whether the project is going to be group or individual in this case. As we move
Sure.
closer, then I think it's easier to make decision, because I don't want later, once you make a decision, then some of you at the end don't want to come back or cannot come back. Yes, anyone want to say something?
Doctor, final exam will be in face to face?
At the moment, it is proposed to be face to face. It is proposed at university level for final exam to be face to face, but
Alright.
it's not final. So it will depend on the situation again. So it depends on the pandemic. Is it going to be getting better, or it will get worse from now onwards? Okay, so what I can tell you, as I mentioned, it has been proposed to be a face-to-face final exam. That is what we see on paper, but at the end they put an asterisk there. It will depend on the basically COVID-19 situation lah. Okay. So don't worry, I'll make your life very miserable when it comes to exam. As usual, that is my way. Alright. For those who did final element, life is never easy with me. So any other, okay, group project, we will decide after test 1. But then when it comes to lab, then the lab will be online for sure. The lab in the sense that you have to do small activities. And then from these small activities, then we will have some assignments. So that one will be online. So that one I can clearly see it has to be individual. Okay, that one will be individual. So in that case, only the group project, then we will see later. So any other questions or comments or clarification that you all need? So for those who don't know, this is not a core subject, because it is not a core subject. So the passing mark is 40%. So please don't get confused. Okay. So passing mark is only 40%. So it's not a core subject. So if you do project, you do assignment, you already have 30%. Okay, if you do it properly, but I won't give 30% full lah. Okay, so that one is already 30% there. Then the test, you already have test 1, test 2, 30%. So passing mark is 40%. Okay. So another typical question that I get from students when it comes to this course will be, so can we choose not to use Arduino Uno? Can we use different kinds of Arduino? So for this, usually I will get this question almost every semester lah. Okay, especially for those who are taking, for example, vehicle dynamics. Okay, or maybe your auto design also, you might be using some form of Arduino. Okay, so if you want to use if you don't want to use Arduino Uno, you want to use different kinds of Arduino, you are free to go ahead, but all the tutorials that I provide, all the information that I provide will be based on Arduino Uno. So which means that you have to learn by yourself. You have to figure out by yourself how to use the other versions of Arduino. Okay. So if you ask me strictly, I will say the whole course is Arduino Uno related. But if you feel that you don't want, since you're in some of the other courses, you are going to use a different version of Arduino, so you are free to use, but you are by your own lah, basically what I can say. You are by basically everything you have to settle it yourself. I'm not going to be involved, because that is your choice to use a different kind of microcontroller. Okay, so a typical Arduino Uno, the reason I choose Arduino Uno is that it's very simple, it's very basic, and it's not expensive to buy, and there are a lot of OEM versions, means that there's a lot of China brand, for example, that you can use. Okay, So means you can get it as cheap as maybe 20 ringgit, I think, for one microcontroller. Okay. Then for some, you can get it less than 20 ringgit, but you have to be careful with the power supply lah. That's another thing lah. Okay. So that is why I choose Arduino Uno. And there are a lot of tutorials out there when it comes to Arduino Uno. It's very easy for you to find. There are a lot of resources out there. So any other things you all would like to know? So quiet Hayo. So this is going to be a very, very long semester then.
No question from me.
Okay.
Question of the
So if nothing, then next week I'll come back again when it comes to the electronic part. So I already have a list of items that I would need you all to prepare for you to go through the tutorials, and also there'll be an assignment for that lah. Okay. So I will release it next week because your site for undergraduate, the hands-on session will not be that soon. But for the master subject, which is an extended version of this particular course, will start a bit earlier. So that one I have to finalize all the labs and stuff for the master subject. Oh yeah, one more thing that I would like to highlight. As you go through the materials later on, there will be some of the materials, because it's the same as the master's students, the master subject. So I'm using the master materials. So there'll be some overlapping there lah. Okay. So but then your version when it comes to the test and everything will be slightly toned down. Means it's easier than master version lah, surely. Okay. So the reason there'll be overlaps is that this course, there are plans for this course in the future to convert it into a Prism course. So that's why we are preparing, like, just in case if it's converted into Prism course, then the materials are basically easily transferable lah. But this is a stage by stage process. So at the moment, I'm only introducing a few topics lah that is going to overlap with master, but not all. Okay. So for some of the materials, at some point, it will be a bit weird where the subject is called Automotive Electronics and Control. That's for master. Yours is Instrumentation. Okay, so there's a slight difference there. Okay, so just to clarify first lah. Okay, because it's the topics are now a bit overlapping from this semester onwards. Okay, so that's why I say it's a bit more challenging from this semester onwards lah. Because we sort of like upgraded this course a bit from this semester onwards. Okay, if nothing else, let me think anything that I want to highlight. Okay, as usual, if you want to complain early, complain to me first. Don't complain in UTM confessions if possible. Okay, so UTM confessions is a very, very sensitive area when it comes to among academics lah. Okay, so the university will take whatever messages are written there very seriously. So sometimes when the message is not clear, then rules will be made based on very vague, unclear comments, and then the rules can actually affect those. Can affect majority of the students in a very negative way. Okay, so if you want to complain, we can talk verbally so that things are cleared up properly. Okay, there will be no I would say confusion. Okay, so a lot of rules have been imposed based on very general comments that is making life for everyone quite difficult most of the time. So far, any class that you enter where the lecturer only play video and watch video together with the lecturer?
No.
Oh, no, doctor.
No,
No, doctor.
then it's good lah. Because I know for, I think, don't know static or dynamic got one person tell me he only go in, he play the video, and then the student got question, then they discuss the question only. So I find it very interesting lah. Okay, so which means you go in and play video, then there's no difference as compared to I ask you all to watch video at your own free time lah actually. Okay, if nothing else feels like very quiet here. Okay lah, if no nothing else, then I will let you go lah since you're already about 48 minutes into the session. So really nothing else, so that's it. Okay, so I'll end this today's session. So e-learning will be updated in a while, so I'll release everything. So you can start to go through if you have time. If you feel that you will take your time to go through, then it's totally up to you lah. Okay, so that's it for today. So thank you very much everyone for your attention and your time.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Doctor.
Doctor.